Today I want to tell you a story that goes all the way back to January 2010. I was doing a podcast with my friend Andy Traub at the time. It was called Business Tech Weekly. It was the first episode of the new year, and Andy had suggested that as a topic for the show that we talk about our business goals for 2010. And specifically, he wanted us to share our goals for our business in 2010. But there was a problem with that. You see, I wasn't all that big into goal setting at that time. Now, I had been following some of the people who have become close personal friends, but at that time they were online mentors. And sure, I heard them talk in their podcast the importance of goal setting. But quite honestly, at that time, I was just coming out of survival mode in my business. Within the first 2 years of my business, I had gotten to the place where I was able to reliably generate just enough money to get by. Basically paying myself the bare minimum. My family and I, we were not eating out. We were not splurging in anything at the grocery store. I wasn't contributing money to my pension fund, but the business was profitable. It was covering all of its overhead. It was paying for the health insurance for the family. It was paying all of the business expenses, but it was just paying the bare minimum. I was averaging about $6,000 or $7,000 per month in business income. So we were just in survival mode. And then Andy suggests, hey, let's talk about setting goals for 2010. What are your goals for 2010, Cliff? I had to think about it seriously. And I'm going to play for you an audio excerpt from that podcast episode where I announced publicly for the very first time the first business goal I ever set for myself.
So here are my goals for 2010. Number one, this is the year that I want to earn $10,000 per month minimum as far as generated income from the business. That's not how much I take home pay, folks. So for those of you who are wondering, but $10,000 a month income minimum every month in 2010. That is a goal.
Now, there are several different directions I could go to in this vlog when it comes to mindset related to what was going through my mind at that time and all of those things. And I don't know where I'm going to go in this vlog yet, but I'm going to start off by saying that, did you hear me say that that's business income, folks? Don't get too crazy. As if. So first of all, I started sharing that goal with folks, and some of my friends at the time who were very successful business owners, I told them that my goal was $10,000 a month income, and they're like, oh, dude, you've got that. You're going to crush that. And I said, but that's business income. And they were like, oh, I thought that was personal income. Then you definitely got that. The 10,000, it's like, wow, these people believed that I was capable of generating not just enough for the business to generate to pay for its overhead, but to also pay myself $10,000 per month at that time. And I'm like, wow, that would be awesome. But no, that's not my goal. That is stretching it. I already considered $10,000 a month in business income as a, what do you call that? The BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal. So in January 2010, it was a bit of a stretch for me to believe that I could generate $10,000 a month business income. But I did believe it was possible. In fact, that's the next direction I want to go to in this vlog. And it's something that I learned in January 2010, or at least throughout the year of 2010. You see, I had learned the method of how to achieve practically any goal that you set for yourself. In fact, you can achieve practically any goal by following just 4 steps. Step number 1, believe it's possible. Now, at the time, I did not believe that I could generate enough to pay myself an income, personal income of $10,000. But knowing that I had reliably generated somewhere between $6,000 to $7,000 per month for over a year, it didn't seem like too much of a stretch. At least I believed it would be possible to bump that up an additional $3,000 to $4,000 to get me to a minimum of $10,000 per month. Number 1, I believed it was possible. Step number 2, write it down. And we're talking physically write it down with like a pen or a pencil on a piece of paper, or even a dry erase marker on a whiteboard, which is what I did at the time. But the idea is that it's not typed, it's actually physically moving your hand in such a way that you're making the words appear on a surface of some sort. And by the way, I can't go into it, I don't understand it completely, but there is research in neuroscience that shows that there is something that happens that helps this go deeper inside of your subconscious mind when you are forcing your brain to fire the synapses, easy for me to say, that are required to move your hand in that way. And when you actually are thinking it, and then you're actually forcing your fingers to write the words on a piece of paper, and visually you're seeing it, there's some very real power in writing things down. Step number 3 is tell others about it. Now, there is some debate on who you should tell. And there's also some debate out there about whether or not you should announce your goals publicly. Personally, I'm one of those guys who I'm going to tell everybody about it. And I guess the only caution I would give is I would be careful one-on-one telling other people about your goals who don't believe it's possible, or who will try to punch holes into your faith and belief of what you're going after is a worthy goal. Outside of that, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna find anybody and everyone who believes in who I am and what I'm here to do. And specifically, I love telling people who believe in me more than I believe in myself. And there are a lot of those people out there. There are a lot of people who see my potential way beyond what potential I see in myself at times. Actually, okay, honestly, most of the time. Okay, even more honestly, all the time. There are people out there that actually see so much more potential in me. And I love telling those people my goals, because when I tell them my goals, as crazy as they may sound, as hard as it has been for me to believe, and as much as my hand may have shaken as I was actually writing it down as a goal, when I tell those people, the right people, I find that they're like, dude, you got this. And so I love telling those people, but I also love telling other people as well. I love publicly announcing it, because when I publicly announce what my goals are, I feel some sort of accountability. Now, when I say that there have been some people that are concerned, some debate over this idea of sharing your goals publicly, there are some that say that there is some kind of research that says once you've announced it, you get that high and adrenaline rush of saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And sometimes that adrenaline rush was like the big high, and then it takes away your desire to go achieve it, because it's almost as though you did achieve it because you announced it and you got so excited about it, but now that you have to do all the work, it's actually a little bit more work than you want. That's never been the case for me personally, and so I tell the world my goals. Step number 4 in achieving any goal is simply to work the plan as it becomes available. And what that means is, as soon as you have believed that your goal is possible, soon as you have written it down, and as soon as you have started to tell people about it, as soon as you recognize what the very first next step is, you take that step. You don't wait until you have the entire formula figured out. You don't wait until you have steps 1 through 10 of how to achieve this. No, you cannot wait until you have step 2 or 3 or 4. Maybe when you start telling other people, they do tell you the first 1, 2, or 3 steps. When you start telling people about what your goal is, that's when all of a sudden the plan will start to make itself known to you on how to achieve it. I can't begin to tell you the number of times when I've said, hey, my goal is I want to become a paid public speaker. And as soon as I told the first person about that, they're like, hey, have you already done this? Have you talked to so-and-so? Have you done this? And I'm like, oh, wow, those are great things. I'm going to go do those things next. And when I actually set myself the goal in 2012 of becoming a paid public speaker and also a keynote public speaker, it's because I worked the plan as it became available, after believing it was possible, after writing it down, telling the world about it, and then doing the next right thing as soon as I figured out what the next thing was. That's how I achieved those goals as well. But I want to get back to that goal that I had told you about, the very first business goal that I set for myself. $10,000 minimum per month. Now, prior to setting that goal, remember I told you that my average business income was $6,000 to $7,000 per month. And yes, it seemed like a big stretch to me. If I'm just completely transparent with you, for the very first month, I hit $10,000, no problem at all. And by the way, why did I do that? Well, as soon as I said my minimum is $10,000, all of a sudden I looked at the things that I was doing and I'm like, if I continue to do exactly what I've been doing every single month, that I've been doing for the past several months, that has been generating $6,000 to $7,000 per month, if I continue to do that, am I going to be able to generate $10,000 next month? Nope. And because I asked myself that question, I started to say, okay, so what do I need to do differently? And importantly, what do I need to stop doing? And what do I need to replace it with that will generate more income? And as a result of just asking that question, that very first month, I made well over $10,000 in the business. And by the way, I would have never asked the question had I not set the goal. See how this all works together? Now, I did not hit my minimum of $10,000 per month every single month in 2010. There were 3 different months where I made between $8,000 to $10,000, but didn't quite hit the $10,000 mark. But there were several months throughout the year that I made well over $10,000. And here's the exciting thing. When it came time to do my taxes with my CPA in January of 2011, guess how much money, business income, I made in 2010? $121,000. Now, those of you who know me know that I'm not great at math on the fly, but I can tell you that if you take $121,000 and divide that by 12, that averages out to just right around $10,000 per month. Goal achieved. Now, the interesting thing is that I have increased that minimum amount every single year since then, and I've achieved my minimum every single year. Which leads me to a whole new direction that I could take this vlog entry. And that is, you don't always get the things that you want. You don't always do the things that you should do. But you always accomplish in life the things that you set for yourself as musts. The things that you absolutely, without any shadow of a doubt, that you unequivocally, it is a part of your identity, it is a part of who you are. You own the fact that this is the bare minimum I will achieve. If you can set something as a must, that is going to be what you achieve. You can prove this. There are people that you know, and maybe you're one of them. Maybe you're one of those people who say, listen, no matter what, I always pay my bills on time. I never pay a bill late. If you're that type of person and you're making the same amount of money over and over again, this happened when Stephanie and I were thinking about having children for the very first time. Wow. That was 18 years ago. But anyway, we were thinking about having children, and the question was, can we afford to have children? And then we looked to see how much it would cost to increase in diapers, childcare at some point, all this other stuff. No, we can't afford to have a child. Well, we had this debate going back for quite some time, and finally we decided that we were going to pursue having a child, and we did. And you know what? Our standard at the time was that we will never pay our bills late. We will always pay our bills on time. And as soon as we had a child, all of a sudden, I noticed that my income increased. And why did my income increase? Because at that time, my standard was I will always pay the bills on time. The interesting thing is that after we had our first child, Megan, when she was born, a couple months later, Stephanie had lost her job. Well, that's a different story for another day. But we had the opportunity for her to go back, but we prayed about it and decided that she would become a stay-at-home mom. And so our income decreased drastically. But you know what? Our standard was that we would never miss paying our bills on time. And you know what? Even though that now we had this child, we had all this extra expense, and we decreased our income from her working, guess what? it caused me to work harder. It caused me to do other things that would be necessary to make sure that I always lived up to who I am as a person, my identity, and who I am was as a person said, I will never pay my bills late. We always were sure to pay our bills on time. And we have since added 2 more children, and over time we've had even added expenses. We've had emergencies come up, and yet we've never failed to live up to our standard that says we will always pay our bills on time. And so today's vlog is all over the place, I know. But I wanted to share that story with you about my very first goal and how I achieved it and how that introduced me to the formula of how to achieve practically any goal that you set for yourself. And that is, again, reminder, number 1, believe it's possible. Number 2, write it down. Number 3, tell other people about it. And number 4, don't wait until you have the entire plan, but work the plan as it becomes available and continue to work the plan until you achieve the goal without stopping. And the second part of this vlog today is you will achieve the things that you set for yourself as absolute musts. Okay, and so my suggestion today, my encouragement, I hope to motivate you today to think about what is it that you want to accomplish in life. What is there that you feel like you should be doing? Those things that you've wanted to do for years but haven't done, the things that you know you should have been doing but you've never got around to doing them, how can you today turn them into something that you are convinced that you absolutely must? Today is the day that it is an absolute must that you accomplish this thing. And then I encourage you to set it as a goal, believe that it's possible, write it down, begin to tell other people, and then relentlessly pursue the plan as it becomes available. If it becomes a must for you, it's not changing your identity, it's expanding your identity. It's expanding who you are to say, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. And for me, it was that first goal. I am the person who generates $10,000 per month business income. It became I'm going to be a paid international keynote speaker, and boom, I accomplish it. And then it's things like I'm going to work out 6 days a week, every week for the rest of my life. Boom, that's my identity now. That's what I'm pursuing. What are you going to say today is your new must? I've given you the steps on how to achieve it. I wish you great success, and I hope today's vlog helps you take everything you do in life to the next level.